what a time series is about? So since we are going to deal with the time series analysis, hydroclimatic time series, in particular, suppose you have any particular variable, say precipitation or temperature. So any climate variable which varies with respect to time, that is known as a hydroclimatic time series, right? So for example, so if I give you the temperature points for a particular year 1950, 51, 52, and so on. Suppose I give you annual values, and these are the. So when you connect these points, so that will constitute a hydroclimatic time series. So any of you have an idea regarding the different components of a time series? Anybody? And why it is important to study a time series? So suppose you have temperature data, let's say for about 10 or 20 years, right? So why it is important to study a time series? You get to know, the first thing you get to know is the trend in that particular variable, right? Suppose you are studying temperature. So since the global warming happens, so it is very evident that the temperature is increasing consistently, right? So through this you have an idea. Suppose this is a temperature time series. So one thing that you are going to know is the trend. What else? What else in a time series? Suppose you have the rainfall pattern, Indian summer monsoon season, right? So, in a particular year, what are the particular seasons for ISMR? During which seasons does ISMR happen? Indian summer monsoon season. July to September, JJAS is the particular season. So, each year, during the JJAS season, you are going to have a peak in the rainfall pattern, right? So that is a seasonal characteristic of the particular climate variable, that is rainfall or precipitation you call, right? So whenever you draw a annual graph of rainfall, how it is going to look like? So suppose this is 1950, 51, 52, and so on. So during this JJAS season, you are definitely going to have a very high peak over this, and then the similar pattern, and then a peak, then a similar pattern, and then a peak. Is this clear to you all? Apart from this, which factor is responsible for the winter monsoons in India? Western disturbances. So during DJF season, that is December to February, so you have four well defined seasons: DJF, MAM, JJA, and SON, right? And in particular for ISMR, we consider JJAS, right? So during DJF season also, you are going to have a particular peak. So this shall be a consistent pattern or a seasonal characteristic in the climate variable rainfall, and this is going to continuously increase. Rainfall is also increasing. So the second component is seasonality, and the third characteristic is cyclicity, and the fourth characteristic is irregularity. So there are certain climate variables which do not follow a particular pattern, so those come under the irregular variations. And what about cyclicity? Anybody? Difference between seasonal and cyclic characteristic of a time series. So the difference is that the seasonality occurs over a fixed time period. Like each year during the ISMR season, you are going to have a peak in the rainfall, JJS season, right? But cyclic behavior indicates the repetition of a pattern, but that is not over fixed duration of intervals. It might be over varying intervals. For example, ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. So, whenever ENSO occurs, there is a peak in sea surface temperatures over the Eastern Pacific Ocean. If you all know about El Nino Southern Oscillation pattern, so that occurs every 2 to 3 years, and it's not a fixed pattern. Like it's not fixed duration. It might vary. Like it might vary up to 3 to 4 years also, right? So that is cyclic variation. So cyclic variation is also similar. So the difference is that you will have a fixed pattern, and this might Right, so these are the four components, basic components of a time series analysis. So we shall now begin with the hands-on session of Python. So are you well aware of some basic libraries in Python? Like for example, we shall begin with, so you know how to run the commands in Python? Shift plus enter you use. So we shall begin with the basic libraries. Suppose you have to import NumPy as NP. So what is NumPy? NumPy is a basic library in Python which is used for numerical calculations. NumPy, numerical calculations in Python, right? And you import NumPy as NP. NP is a short form. So every time you use this NumPy, you do not have to write it in a very big form. And when you do shift plus enter, so there comes a star. I'm explaining with respect to the very beginner's point, those who don't know anything about Python. So this is right from the beginning. So when you do shift plus enter, this cell will run, right? And there will be a star mark here. So when you run this, it's a star mark, and this symbol also shows that the cell is currently running, right? Then we also import some other libraries, say pandas. Import pandas as PD. So you can simultaneously perform these on your laptops also. Pandas is also a library in Python which is used for anybody. What is pandas used for? Pre-process the data. What else? Anybody? So pandas is used to convert data into a tabular form in order to perform calculations on a data frame. It converts your data into data frame or in particular tabular format, right? Then next you also import matplot library .pyplot. Now this .pyplot, this is a module in, is it visible to you or should I increase the size? Now it is visible. So now you also import matplot library, and in this library in particular you have this module pyplot, right? So you import it as PLT. The short form you write as PLT, right? Now we are also going to download some data. So you do you have the link which I shared with you, like the guidelines which you received before this session, right? The Google Drive link you have. Okay, so we shall download the data from that link. So for downloading the data, you also need to import from download. This is the library. You need to import this package download. Now you run all these commands, write these four commands, four syntaxes, and press shift plus enter. So all these four commands will run in a single cell. Is this clear? Have you done these things till now? So you enter this command first. Just see here. Write this command pip install download and then press shift plus enter. Some of you might be facing an error regarding the download, right? So you can write this command exclamation mark pip install download and then write all those commands. Now you are able to do this. So the next syntax that we are going to give is to download your data, right? So for downloading the data, we first of all give the path. The path is download, and in brackets you will give the link in single brackets first, right? So here we'll give the link, comma, the folder where you want to save that particular file. So suppose for me it's home, Divya, and then I give the location as desktop. So suppose I want to save my file at desktop. Okay, so whatever path you want to give, you want to save in downloads or you want to save in a particular folder in your desktop, so you can do that. If you have any queries, please call Joyjeet. He will assist you. Anybody who is not able to perform any syntax, please let me know. Right? So you put single colons here and close this. Now you only need to put your link where the data is saved. So for Google Drive, I shared the link with you. Please open those guidelines and copy that link. And in that link, you will find, so just copy the link for this rainfall.csv. You right click on this, share, and then copy this link. Do you have this link? Like, are you able to open this link? So copy the link for rainfall.csv and then you can input this link over here. So what we have done, path is equal to download. In single colons, you mention the link where the data is uploaded, comma, the path where you want to save your file. And then do shift plus enter. So since I already have the file downloaded, so it says this. Anybody who has downloaded this data? And it's not necessary that you download it this way also. You can simply download this and then you can open or read the file in that corresponding path. You can skip this line and you can manually download it also. Are you getting my point? So the next step will be to read this file. Now how you are going to read this file? You write the syntax dataset. So suppose your dataset, the variable in which we are storing this dataset is named as dataset, and this is equal to PD. Now what is this PD? PD is your short for pandas, right? So PD dot read underscore CSV. So in order to read a CSV file, the syntax is read underscore CSV, right? And then you are supposed to give the location of your path. Suppose you skip the previous step, you are not able to download it through the link. You download it manually and then that file will come in your downloads folder and then you can give that path over here. Like suppose we open this downloads folder, right? And here I have this rainfall CSV. Now how will you know the path of this file? So you right click on this file, right? And then you go to properties. Just right click on this file and go to properties in case you do not know your path. So when you click on properties, so I have this parent folder. The parent folder is /home/divya/downloads. So in case for you, it might be home/your name/downloads, right? So you can copy this path from here. Just copy this simply. Wherever your file is located, there might also be possibility that your file is downloaded somewhere else. Like you sometimes change the settings of your system that it will go to some other folder directly instead of going to downloads. So in that case also just right click on properties and you will get the path of this file. So just copy this and write it over here in double colons, right? And then slash the name of your file, that is rainfall.csv. In case you are not able to download the file from this link, you can manually download it. It will come to your downloads folder and simply put the path of your file here and then press shift plus enter. So this cell is now executed. You can skip this 11th number cell in case you are not able to download it from the link. Clear? Any doubts till now? Is this clear to you? Now say you want to see what is constituted in this data set. So you simply write data set and press shift plus enter. So this will display what the data is about. You can also write this command after this line also. So when you press shift plus enter, this will print the data set. And you can also do it one by one also. So this is the flexibility of Python language, that you can perform your actions individually also. If you are stuck somewhere, you can check which line gives you error also, right? So you can simply write this data set and it will give you the details. So it's two column data. For the first one is month and the second is rainfall in say, right? So you have the monthly rainfall. This is a very random data and it has 144 rows and two columns. Clear? Done till now? Clear? So now, can you see this column of month? So it's in 1949-01. Only month and the year are given to you. So suppose you are supposed to convert this data set or this particular variable month into proper date time format, like the day, the corresponding month and the corresponding year. So in that case, what you will do, you will pick this data set, and out of this data set just pick the month column in single colons. You choose this data set, out of data set just pick this month column and then convert it to data frame. In order to convert it to data frame, we had imported the pandas library, and that was imported as PD, short form, right? So any syntax has to be attached to pandas. It's written with dot syntax. So it's here PD dot to date time. So it will convert this month variable into date time format, right? Simple. So you consider this month column of this data set, perform the operation to date time, which is imported from the pandas, right? And then you just press shift plus enter, and then I again save it as data set month column. That is, it will just replace it the data set with the month column, right? You do shift plus enter. Now in case you have performed your operation but you want to know what output does it have, right? You definitely would like to know what changes we have made to our original data set. So in that case, you can again print the output data to see what changes have been done to your original data set, right? So you press and write this data set again and press shift plus enter. So can you see the difference between these two outputs? The month column, the data frame, the data time, the format of the date has been now changed and saved to the same variable data set only. You want to save it to another format, like another variable, it could be dataset 2, dataset 3, any other name you can give. But since I want to perform all my calculations on this format only, so I have saved it to this only. So this is the flexibility of Python. In other climate variable like climate operator, have you used CDO, climate data operator? No? So in climate data operator, whenever you perform a operator, it saves this as an another NC file, netcdf file or any other file. The file you perform operation on, it takes a lot of storage space, right? So Python is flexible because it just extracts your data in a tabular form. You can convert your data into data frame and perform all the calculations freely, right? So is this clear till now here? So now we have converted our, now suppose we are supposed to perform calculations on this data set. So you see this first serial number, this is unnecessary. And I want to set my index. I want to represent my data using this months only. So in that case, what you are going to do, you are supposed to reset the index of your data set. So what would be the syntax for that? So you again write data set, right? And then pick this month column only. Again, I am making changes to the month column only, right? So I choose data set and then again this month. Then what are we going to do? Data set dot set index, right? So I am going to set the index of this as month rather than the serial numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. And in fact, now I can store it as index data set so that you get a difference between these two, right? So I pick my data set and then give the command dot set index as month only instead of serial numbers. So once you perform this operation, we will see what output we have in the stored variable, new variable, that is index data set. So just shift plus enter and then copy this and type this here, and you see the difference between these two. The first serial number has now been eliminated when you set the index of this column. So setting the index means that you want to represent this rainfall by this date time column. You don't want that serial number 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, that is the indexing. So instead of those indexing, you want to represent your rainfall data through a particular date or time variable, right? So in that case, you set your index with the months column, right? So now suppose, very basic command, suppose you want to print the first 5 rows of your data set only. So what you do, indexed dot whatever you have saved, the stored variable index data set dot head, and in brackets you write 5. So if you write 5, it will print the first 5 rows of indexed data set, and then do shift plus enter. So it has printed first 5 rows. And suppose you want to print the first 10 rows, you can write dot head 10. So it will print the first 10 entries. Suppose you want to see the last 10 entries. So instead of head, you write tail, right? So it has printed the last 10 entries. This means your data begins from 1949 and ends at 1960, right? So these are the last 10 entries. And even if you don't give any particular number to this and just print, so by default, it is going to print the last 5 entries of your data set, right? Now suppose we are planning to say, let's plot this data set. So I want to draw a simple time series for this data set. So in that case, what syntax you will give? So first of all, I'll set some basic font settings. So the font settings are plt.rc params. This is an object. What it does, first write the syntax and then we'll discuss. Figure dot fig size is equal to 12,4. So 12,4 represents the length and width of your plot. So once we'll plot this data set, it will be clear to you. Just write the syntax first and then I'll explain it one by one. Then you write plt.rc params axis grid and say it's true. Then you say plt.rc params and then you discuss the font size, font dot size. Syntax is font dot size. And what font size you want to give, say it's 14, right? And do shift plus enter. So the best part about Python is that it gives you the error. So error is in the second line and says that this has no attribute RA instead of RC. So you can simply check where is the error line. Now, so I have given some basic settings like what font size I want to give, what figure size should be. It should be length should be 12 and width should be 4. Now simply to plot, you write PLT. So PLT was imported using matplotlib, matplot library, okay? And it was imported as PLT. So you write PLT dot X label. You can set the X label. So what X label you want? On the X axis, you are going to have your date or time. So I give in single colons as date. Then PLT dot Y label. Y label is going to be rainfall in mm. So these in single brackets, these are the captions which I am giving. The labels of x-axis and y-axis, right? Then plt dot plot. What parameter I am going to plot? So what was my final data set which I was supposed to plot? I performed all my operations and finally got my data set as index data set, right? So I will copy this and simply plot. You need to mention the variable to be plotted. So let's say if I do not mention the variable, and then in order to show the plot, I have to write this command plt dot show single brackets, and suppose I say shift plus enter. So this is an empty graph, right? This is an empty graph. You can see the label of x-axis. The label of x-axis is date. The label of y-axis is rainfall in mm, because I gave the labels already. plt.x label is date, plt.y label is rainfall in mm, and since I haven't given any variable name, so this is an empty graph. So I need to give my variable, and that variable is index underscore data set, right? And I do shift plus enter. Clear? And if suppose I don't give this command, even then it shows. So this is just for the rounding of plt dot show. This will display your final graph. Is this clear? Done? Are you doing these syntaxes simultaneously? Are you able to perform these operations? Yeah. This is just giving the, suppose in case you do not give this, so it will just randomly choose a format of its own. These are just specifications we have given. In case you do not give that, it will take its specifications on its own. This is figure dot fig size of the figure, that is 12 in length and 4 in width. Axis dot grid, can you see these grid lines in the plot? So it's true that I want the grid lines. Then it is the font size. Font size of these labels must be 14. Clear? Shall we proceed? So do you know about rolling mean and rolling standard deviation? Moving averages. Do you know about moving averages? So suppose I give you, let's say I give you some values 23, 21, 45. So what does rolling mean means? There is a term rolling mean, rolling standard deviation, and this is also known as moving average. So usually when in climatic time series you see, any research article when you see, it's not the time series that it's visible over here. So this data is hardly for about 20 years. So when you're going to analyze, say, your temperature data, you know about SSP scenarios, historical plus future data constitutes from 2015 to 2100. In that case, this will be a very zigzag time series, and these patterns will not be visible at all, right? You will have a large number of fluctuations month wise, right? So one case is that you can convert that data into annual, right? So you can just simply plot the annual by taking the mean of all the months, right? That is one case. Or the second thing that you can do is plot the rolling means. So what does rolling mean does? It smoothens out your data set, right? So how it is done? Moving averages, for moving averages, we have to give some window size. So suppose I give the window size as 12 or 10, whatever, n be the number. So it does, it takes the average of first, suppose I give the window size as 3. So it will take the average of these three values and the first value will be stored here. Can you take the average of these three? This plus this plus this divided by 3. Then the next entry will be the average of the next three terms and this value will be stored here. Then again rolling mean. So this means that your mean or the average value rolls at a window of size 3. So this size could be 12, 10, whatever. right? So suppose in this time series we are to calculate the rolling mean. So what would be the syntax of calculating the rolling mean? So what you are supposed to do, so let's say my variable in which I want to store the rolling mean is roll mean, and then I give it equal to, right? Now what is the data set on which I want to perform the rolling mean? Index data set. That was my final format. So write indexed data set, right? Now in order to calculate the rolling mean, the syntax is dot rolling. You have to calculate the dot rolling and then the mean of this. That's it. You have to calculate the rolling mean of this time series, that is index data set. Now one thing you also want to specify is the window size, right? So where are you going to enter that window size? This will be the place where you will mention the window is equal to 12, right? And then it will select a window of 12 time steps and then it will take the mean of those. ठीक है, आपको रोलिंग के बाद ही सिंटेक्स देना पड़ेगा window of 12. If you give it at mean, so that does not make sense because first you have to select those 12 values and then it will take a rolling mean. Clear? And then you do shift plus enter. So it has calculated the rolling mean, right? Similarly, we can also calculate the rolling standard deviation. So after this only, either you can write in next cell or we can also combine some rolling standard deviation is equal to again same index data set dot rolling, and again I take the window 12, right? And then I take the standard deviation and the syntax is dot std, right? And then say I want to see what has been now stored in my new variables roll mean and roll std and do shift plus enter. So these are your rolling mean values and these are your rolling standard deviation values. So can you see these are NaN values? Why these are NaN? So when you calculate the rolling mean, it will consider the first three values and save it here. These values will be none. NaN value. Right? First three values, so it will write the value corresponding to this third value and the first n minus 1 values will be null because that is what rolling mean is about. Do you have the link for Google Drive which I gave in the guidelines? Are you able to open that folder? So whatever I have done till now, I am uploading this file in that Google Drive. Those who have missed some of the other parts, you can just check from there. So this is how you save a notebook also. Just see, there are one or two more things. Now suppose I want to create a heading, like just one or two things and then I'll give this. So suppose in this cell I want to create a heading and like I am giving you this notebook, right? So I want to give the title of this notebook. So I insert one cell over here. So this is for cutting the cells and this is, chalo, we can insert it somewhere here. So I am writing the title of this notebook as, so first of all you need to select this cell and go to this markdown. Can you see this markdown option? Are you able to see this markdown option? Just select this. First select the cell and go to this markdown. And now write hash, right? So this is hash and space. So suppose this is hydroclimatic time series analysis. Done? Just simply write hash space hydroclimatic time series analysis and press shift plus enter. So this is the title of my notebook. Suppose I will save this notebook and give it to you. So this will be a very readable format which will be saved and you will always have this title, right? Now suppose I want to create one subsection here. That is, I add one cell over here and this is how to read a file. And its size should be less than the previous main title. So how do you adjust the size? Just add 2 or 3 more hash. Like I select this cell and do markdown and then I write double hash space. This is how to read a CSV file. Double hash will reduce the size of this text. Triple hash will further reduce the size of this text, right? So say this is double hash and I press shift plus enter. So this is comparatively smaller than the previous one. And if I write triple hash, I insert one more cell over here and I again do the markdown and write triple hash. How to read, shift plus enter. Can you see the difference between these two font sizes? So that can be done by adjusting your hashes. One hash, the largest font size. Two hashes, smaller. Three hashes, then again smaller. Clear? So for as of now, I will delete this because I don't need this. And this can be my first heading and this can be my first subsection. So if suppose you want to edit the further size, you double click it and it will convert into editable format. And then again press shift plus enter. If you want to edit this, just press double click and this is editable format. Clear? Again you can add one more hash if you want to further reduce the size, and you can write section 3.1, 1.1, whatever. Like you can make proper subheadings, right? Now suppose you want to save this file in a PDF format and I want to share this document with you. So you go there, file, save notebook. One option is save, another is download it. And then if you press on download, this will be saved as Python notebook only. The syntax will be pynb, .pynb. But since I want to save it as a PDF file, I will save and export it as whatever syntax I want. It could be PDF, it could be HTML, whatever. So I am saving it in PDF format. So this file has downloaded as Unititle 2. Now you can open this notebook and you see whatever operations we have performed, see. So this is very efficient to read also, to, if you want to teach it to somebody or you want to make notes for yourself also. Suppose you are working on a research paper and you want to highlight what you have done in your notebook. So you can make subsections like this or headings, right? And one more thing, here I wrote hash pass strings in date format. What does this indicate? This is a comment. This will not be executed when you run your script, right? This will not be executed when you run your script. Hash is only for your remembrance, is only for your understanding that what you have done in this line. This black colored line will be executed, and this green color, whenever you put a hash before some line, it becomes a comment and it will not be executed. It is only for highlighting or remembering what you have done in your further lines, right? So now I am uploading this file onto the Google Drive link. Here I am uploading this new file upload, and in downloads this was Unititled 2. So those who have missed any part of this PDF, you can just check at this, right? You all have this link on the guidelines provided to you, so you can copy the link and open this NSIH folder and then do this, right? So now we shall proceed further. So that has been uploaded. Any other queries? Done? Okay. So now you know about stationarity of a time series. What is a stationary time series and what is a non-stationary time series? Anybody? Stationary and a non-stationary time series. Station means that you are constant with respect to time. Stationary means any time series which has a constant mean, constant standard deviation, right? And non-stationary, a time series which varies with respect to time. So this time series, this keeps on varying with time. Any one basic example of a stationary time series? A constant time, constant. I come to college at 10 a.m. daily, right? What is my time of coming to college? Each day I reach at 10 a.m. So my time is fixed. So this is a stationary series. And if it's consistently increasing, decreasing, so that's a non-stationary time series. In particular, Basic characteristic of a stationary time series is its mean and standard deviation will remain constant with time. And for non-stationary time series, it will vary with time. Right? Okay, so let's now check the stationarity of a time series. Checking stationarity, I will make a subsection over here. I will do markdown and write checking stationarity of a time series. Chalo, now checking the stationarity of a time series, right? So I will again plot a time series. Now how do you write the syntax? So your original data set was plt dot plot. I plot my variable indexed data set, right? This is another way of plotting. How do you plot a time series? It's not that you always have to give the x labels, y labels and so. So this is my original time series, plt.plot index dataset, and then here I can also mention the color of my time series, like what color I want. So I can specify the color, that is color is equal to blue. Then I can also label it. Label is equal to, this is my say original time series, right? Then I want to say mean. Mean is plt.plot. What is the variable? Variable was rolling mean, which we have already calculated, and say I want to give it the color, say red, and the label I want to give it rolling mean, right? Then I also want to plot the standard deviation in the same figure. So that is plt.plot rolling standard deviation. Again I give the color as say black, and then I give the label as rolling standard deviation, and then close this. And I also want to give the legends. You understand the legends? The labels which will highlight which color corresponds to which particular variable. So I give plt.legend, and then I give the location. I can choose it best, like as per the best understanding of this software. And then I also give the title of this. The title is whatever you want to give, rolling mean and rolling standard deviation. And then I give plt.show. That's it. Okay, so the variable that I considered was roll mean, it was not rolling mean. So this is it. Yeah. So can you see the plot? Now what I have done in this plot, I have plotted all the three variables in a single graph. The blue color is for original time series, that was my index data set. So first command that I gave was for original, plt.plot, my variable name, the color of my plot I want is blue, and then the label or the legend I want is original, right? Then mean is plt.plot this rolling mean. Rolling mean should be red in color, and then the standard deviation should be black in color, and the location of this legend. Do you understand what is this best? Best is as per the fit of this. Instead of best, I can write it right. So this will move my legend towards the right hand side, and do shift plus enter, so it has shifted over here. Say I want it upper right. So that's an error, space. So it has shifted to upper right. I want to give it lower right. So it will go to lower right. So whatever location you want, the best, you can give the syntax, right? It could be center right also. Lower center. You understand lower center, right? Lower left. Or, so this is clear to you? So I prefer to choose best. And then the title of this plot shall be rolling mean and rolling standard deviation, whatever title you want to give for this plot. And one more thing I have missed over here, plt.x labels, plt.y labels, right? So there are no x and y labels, so you can also mention those x and y labels as well, right? So plt.x label, you can give the label as rainfall. Plt.y label, y label could be date, time, etc., whatever. right? So that can also be incorporated over here, right? So can you see, this is visually analyzing. This is not a stationary time series, because at each time step, you see the mean that is in red color. It keeps on changing. It is not constant. So visually analyzing, this is not a stationary time series, right? Okay, so moving further, now wrapping visual and statistical tools in a single function. Now, suppose you want to perform the same analysis over a time series again and again. So, you can, in that case, also create a function for this time series. Now, how do you create a function? So, just write define test stationarity. This is my function. Test stationarity. In brackets, I mention my data set. So say my data set is in the format of time series. This time series will be my variable for the function test stationarity. जैसे y इज इक्वल टू एफ एक्स आप डिफाइन करते हो, ठीक है, x आपका क्या रहता है, वेरिएबल रहता है, एंड f इज योर फंक्शन. सपोज एफ एक्स है आपका एक्स स्क्वायर, ठीक है, तो वो क्या करेगा, सारी इनपुट वैल्यूज लेगा और उनका आउटपुट क्या कर देगा, स्क्वायरिंग कर देगा, right? So it will just square the values. If your function is x plus 1, so it will shift the input variable by 1 for all the values. Similarly, here my input variable is time series, and this will be the function test stationarity. Now what it will perform in this function, that you have to define, right? So just write what it's going to perform, determining all the rolling statistics, right? So this can be the same. I can copy this command which I have already calculated. I want to say calculate the rolling mean for whatever time series I input, rolling mean, rolling standard deviation with a window size of 12, and then after that I want to plot this. So these are my plotting statistics, plotting graphs. This is a comment for me what I'm going to do in the next few lines. So again, this entire paragraph can be copied, right? So here, one mistake that I am making is this. What was my input variable? Time series. So everywhere you have to give the input variable as time series, right? So this is my time series, and then PLT plot. Again here I will give it time series because time series is my input. These things I can keep constant. Rolling mean has to be roll mean only because this variable I have defined, so it will plot this here. Rolling standard deviation I already defined from time series, and then these things can be kept constant. Now I do shift plus enter. So one indent does not match any outer indentation. Unident does not. Can you see any error? Indent कहाँ? Space लगेगा. Unident does not match any outer indentation level. अच्छा हाँ, फंक्शन के आगे आपका सेमीकोलन आएगा. Even then it's यहाँ पे स्पेस शिफ्ट टैब, फिर से क्या कर दूँ, टैब, ठीक है. So now this has executed successfully. Now suppose you want to plot the graph of a particular time series by using this function test stationarity. So what you do, you write test stationarity and then just write indexed time series, index data set, right? And then do shift plus enter. So now you can perform this complete statistical analysis in just one command. Suppose you want to perform this time series analysis for n number of climatic variables, right? You want to perform it for n number of climate variables. So you cannot write this command again and again, right? Say you want to calculate rolling mean and standard deviation for temperature also, precipitation also, n number of variables. So this need not be performed again and again now. Clear? Now you can just simply call this function and input your variable. Your input variable is index dataset, right? So this is how you can create a function in the Python notebook. Clear? Okay, so next we shall proceed by converting non-stationary data into stationary. So how do you convert? So I create a subheading over here, that is converting non-stationary data to stationary, and do shift plus enter. So how do you do that? There are various methods of converting non-stationary data to stationary. First method is simply taking a logarithmic of the variable. Second method is you take the differencing, right? And the third is you take exponential differencing. And there is another test, one is Dicker ADF test, Dicker-Fuller test, right? So there are various methods involved. So the basic one will do, that is taking a logarithmic of this value, of this time series. So what you do, suppose you want to plot a log y scale. So what you do this indexed data set, right? And log scale. So this is how I define my new variable as index data scale underscore log scale. Okay? I define it as index data set underscore log scale. And I do np. np is numpy library. Okay? np say I export this log, and the variable for calculating this is my index data set, and I do shift plus enter. So it has already calculated, and then I want to plot it also. So I do plt dot plot and then my indexed data set. Or another way, suppose now you want to perform this rolling mean, rolling standard deviation, and plot this original time series. You want to perform all these. So you just have to call this function test stationarity, and then in the input variable you write this and do shift plus enter. So can you see the difference? Now what it has done? First of all, in this command, in this syntax, it has calculated the logarithmic value, right? And in the next syntax, again I want to calculate the rolling mean, rolling standard deviation, and whatever statistics you are doing. So I simply called that function, and now I changed my input variable. Now input variable was index data set underscore log scale. So on this log scaled data, it has performed all the calculations. Now you can see this y-axis has changed because you take the log of all these values. So what's the benefit of taking the logarithmic? Can you see this? This has now clubbed into a very shorter time scale, that is 4 to 6 range only. And it is close to getting stationary. मीन आप देखो कहाँ से कहाँ तक वेरी कर रहा है, approximately 4.9 to 5.9, which has significantly reduced. So this is one way of getting a stationary time series, but unfortunately in this case we are getting significant amount of errors, plus and minus. So this shall not be a procedure for this particular time series to make it stationary. In that case, we will perform some other method. So let's say if we perform differencing by the previous term, right? So how do you perform differencing? Again, I perform a single step. I give the title, you can give your title, differencing simple moving averages, and you define moving average or rolling mean, whatever, as you call this index data set, and what you do on the log scale one only. Now we will perform all the calculations on this log scale because one step has been done. Further differencing we need to do to make it stationary. So on log scale, what you do, you again take the rolling mean that we have already considered. If you want to calculate the rolling mean individually, so you just simply can take this dot rolling, and then you can set the window size if you want to do it manually, and you can keep it 12 dot mean, right? So this is one way that you calculate all these things simultaneously one by one. But now, since we do not need to do this, we have already calculated or we have already generated a function for that, that is test stationarity. So just simply call a function test stationarity and give your input variable. Okay. Now simply next step we want to do is differencing simple moving averages. So for that you define a moving average as index data set underscore log scale. I calculate the rolling mean for this. Now I will tell you why I will calculate the rolling mean, and I give the say window size as window is equal to 12, right? And then now I will give it as data set log scale minus moving average. I have defined it as data scale underscore log scale minus the moving average. I subtract the moving. Do you know detrending? Detrending a data set. Indexed data set underscore, what was my variable? Index data set underscore log scale, and then I subtract these moving averages value calculated. So it's kind of detrending the data set, and out of these I will remove all the NaN values. So if you are supposed to remove the NaN values, you just simply write a command drop Na. Ma is equal to dot drop Na, and then I give dataset underscore log scale 10 first 10 values of the head. So this we will see later. Okay. So what is detrending? Detrending means, D means removing, right? So when you remove the trend from a particular time series, it is known as detrending, right? So how do you perform detrending? So suppose you have a particular climate time series. So this is your time series. This is your sea surface temperature time, right? Now suppose you are calculating the trend of this time series. So the trend will be somewhat a line like this, right? Now when you subtract the trend from the time series, you will be left with a stationary time series. So when you remove this trend value, you will be left with a time series like this. So this is detrending a time series. Now why it is important? You know about El Nino Southern Oscillation, right? El Nino Southern Oscillation is a particular climate phenomena of Pacific Ocean, right? And how do you define ENSO index? The average sea surface temperatures over the Nino 3.4 region, which is defined in some latitude longitude that you can go through from, that is predefined 5 degrees north to 5 degrees south and some latitude longitude. So the sea surface temperature is average in that particular region. So definitely with time the time series will be increasing. But when we analyze the ENSO years, you know there are two phases of ENSO, positive El Nino and negative La Nina, right? So in case you want to select the years of positive ENSO and negative ENSO, so in that case, how will you calculate the positive ENSO years and negative ENSO years from that time series? So in that case, you perform detrending, right? And detrending से आपको फिर क्या मिलेगा? What do you get? You get a time series like this, up and down, and in particular, you also standardize it or normalize it. Normalize पता है कैसे करते हैं? Standard deviation से divide कर देते हैं. So detrending and normalizing are two different things. In detrending, what you do, you subtract the mean value. This is detrending. And when you divide this by sigma, this is normalizing. So what does this mean? स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन से डिवाइड करने पे आपको क्या मिलेगा? आपका जो डेटा सेट है दैट विल कम डाउन टू अ स्टैंडर्ड स्केल. स्टैंडर्ड स्केल मीन्स द रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर, SST है, सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर है, उसका अगर मैं बिल्कुल बेसिक सा एवरेज ले लूँ, so that will be somewhere lying between 25 degrees Celsius to say 35 degrees Celsius. That will be my scale. When you subtract the mean also, so then also somewhere it will lie between that scale. But in order to calculate or pick the years, you divide it by standard deviation. And standardization will bring that data set to a very basic scale that is lying between -2 to +2. ठीक है, I will show you one example. Say ENSO time series. You simply say ENSO time series and see some images. So can you see this time series? So can you see the range -2 to +3? So this is a detrended and a normalized time series. This has been brought down. Can you think of sea surface temperature lying in this range? No, this can never happen. So this is a normalized time series. We have brought it down to a scale by dividing it by standard deviation. You can simply plot, just ऐसे sample कोई भी data आप consider कर लेना, just randomly take 10 points, ठीक है, you subtract the mean value and then plot its time series. Now you know how to plot the time series, and then in next step you calculate the standard deviation and then plot the time series divided by standard deviation. So your range of the time series will lie in somewhere like this. So now why is this beneficial to study a normalized time series? So here you can clearly see the peak points which exceed 1 degree mark, those are considered as plus El Nino, plus ENSO years, positive ENSO years or El Nino years, right? And the years which lie below -1, like this year 1950, 1974, 1976, so these are your negative ENSO years. So this is why detrending of a time series is important, because you get to know the exact peaks and valleys in a particular climate phenomena, right? So this is one concept of detrending and normalizing the time series, right? Similarly, you find any climate index, Indian Ocean dipole hai, Pacific decadal oscillation hai. All of these are plotted. You know about composite analysis. Ever in your research you might do. How many of you are PhD students? Almost all. So you have never heard of composite analysis? Never? ठीक है, तो जब आप कंपोजिट एनालिसिस करते हो, सो यू सिलेक्ट द पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव ईयर्स, सो दैट कैन बी डन वाया दिस. इससे आपका क्या हो जाएगा, CSV फाइल कंस्ट्रक्ट हो जाएगा एंड यू क्रिएट अ फिल्टर द ईयर्स विच आर ग्रेटर एंड यू डू अ सेपरेट एनालिसिस फॉर द पर्टिकुलर ईयर्स विच एक्सीड +1 और -1 स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. ठीक है, so this is why it is important to study a detrended time series. Okay, coming back, so you have got these values. Now this is one method. So suppose you subtract the trend, and this is another method that you can also subtract the moving average. Now again we calculated on log scale, we calculated the rolling mean and saved it as moving average, and similar to detrending, instead of mean we subtracted the rolling mean. So we get this, I have saved it as another variable, that is dataset underscore log scale minus MA. MA is moving average, right? Now suppose we have this variable, and obviously moving average will begin from the 12th value. So the first 11 values will go null. So the output will also have first 11 as NaN values. And let's say you no longer need these values in your data set to perform further calculations. So in that case, so this is your data frame. Data frame अगर आपने किसी भी data set का बना लिया, it is very easy to do all the other calculations. Now you simply write drop NA. So drop NA will drop down all the null values of this data set, right? And since I have dropped it on this variable only, now I can see the first 10 values of this data set. I can store it as some other variable, say data set revised is equal to and then I can plot or see what does it contain and see the first 10 values. Can you see this now? Or instead of 10, I can simply write this. What is the revised data set containing? So it constitutes the value from the 12th month of the 1949 year, because I have dropped all the NA values. So in case you don't require those values, just simply write drop NA and then just see this data set. If you want to see the first 5 values, we can write dot head bracket 10 or 5, whatever, right? So these are the first 10 values. So this is one way of calculating moving averages and then further differencing. So now suppose I want to perform the same rolling mean statistics now on this revised time series. So again I will call my function test stationarity, and in the variable now what I will give, data set revised, and do shift plus enter. So can you see this? What I have done, I have called this function test stationarity. In test stationarity, we had already given all the syntaxes for the calculation of mean, standard deviation. Very basic. You can also give all other descriptive statistics as per your requirement. So this simply I have called and I have given my data to it. Initially we defined it for time series, but now I have given it data set revised. So it has plotted this time series. So this, do you think this is now stationary? So constant mean means somewhere about lying between plus minus standard deviation. So it need not be very exact constant or very exact constant mean or standard deviation. So this is now near to being a stationary time series, right? And can you see the seasonality pattern? देख पा रहे हो आप? 1 peak, 2 peak, 3 peak. The third peak is the highest. Then again first peak, second peak, highest. First, second, third. First, second, third. Consistently we have a seasonal characteristic in this time series, right? So this is the second way of calculating the stationary time series. Now there is another one more method, that is differencing with the previous value. Differencing with the previous value. I have given it a heading and then I have do shift plus enter. Now how do you do differencing with the previous value? Again I consider the log scaled value, right? And then I define my data set as data set by log shifting. This is equal to indexed data set on the log scale, and I subtract it with the previous value, index data set underscore log scale dot shift by 1, right? And then I plot this. Instead of plotting, I can call that function again, data set log shifting, and then I call this test stationarity again. So now you understand the importance of defining a function. So in that case, you do not have to write the syntaxes for calculating rolling mean, standard deviation and whatever statistics again and again. So index data set, this is not defined. This is done, and now test stationarity. Just one line command. You perform your differencing operator. Differencing has been done on log scale minus a value by shifting it with 1. नहीं समझ में आ रहा क्या है, क्या हो रहा है, तो आप क्या कर सकते हो, अपने ओरिजिनल डेटा को प्रिंट करो और जो आपका आउटपुट डेटा है यू प्रिंट दैट वैल्यू. सपोज आई गिव यू दिस रैंडम डेटा. आपके पास किसी भी स्टूडेंट की स्क्रिप्ट आती है, यू हैव एनी स्क्रिप्ट, आपको नहीं पता कि इनपुट वेरिएबल क्या है और आउटपुट क्या है, थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आ रहा है कि हाँ डिफरेंसिंग की है, तो आप क्या करो, ये इनपुट को एक बार प्रिंट करके देखो. प्रिंट में कुछ नहीं करना, सिंपली राइट एंड दिस प्रेस एंटर. आउटपुट को प्रिंट करके देखो, जस्ट प्रिंट दिस आउटपुट एंड शिफ्ट प्लस एंटर. कैन यू सी द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू वैल्यूज, व्हाट इट इज़ डूइंग? क्या कर रहा है, सेकेंड वैल्यू माइनस द फर्स्ट वैल्यू, 4.77 माइनस 4.71, इट इज़ 0.05, क्योंकि फर्स्ट के ऊपर फर्स्ट वैल्यू माइनस समथिंग वो एन लेगा. Then 4.88 minus 4.77, it is 0.11. So in any case, you do not understand what is happening, what operator you are performing, or you have the script of some other authors, you do not know what they have done, just print the input variable, print the output variable, just analyze them, you will understand what they have done. थोड़ा बहुत तो समझ में आ ही रहा है कि कुछ सब्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है, शिफ्टिंग से हो रहा है, वन से शिफ्ट हो रहा है ना. सो दिस इज हाउ यू कैन सी एट ईच स्टेप कि what is being done. ठीक है. Now again I have performed all the rolling mean statistics. Now you see the range of this mean is almost constant. So this is the most perfect way to make it the stationary time series. Is this clear to you? So this is how mean is almost constant, standard deviation is almost constant, and can you see this mean starts from 1950 and the time series has already begun from some previous values, obviously, because rolling mean has already skipped those 11 values, so the time series will definitely will begin from 12th value, right? Okay, so now we will do seasonal decomposition. Suppose I give you one time series and I want you to separate out the seasonality, I want you to separate out the trend, and I want you to separate out the residual of that time series. So how are you going to do that? So we will define it as seasonal decomposition. Seasonal decomposition. And then you do shift plus enter. So this is my heading, subheading, whatever, section 2.1, whatever you want to define, you can do it, right? So for seasonal decomposition, you will call a library and the syntax is from stats model. I think we haven't imported this stats model. From stats model dot tsa, tsa is time series analysis, and then this is seasonal. I import seasonal decompose. So these are well defined, predefined libraries. Seasonal decompose is already an available module or package, you can say, from this particular library. And you give the command decomposition is equal to, you apply this seasonal decompose which you have imported, and then you give your input data set, indexed data set, which is log scaled, right? And then you define trend from this decomposition and dot trend, extract this trend value. Then you also extract the seasonal value from this decomposition dot seasonal, and then you also extract the residual value from this decomposition. So it has 3 parameters and this is in particular residual. आप ये seasonal decompose के बारे में थोड़ा सा सर्च करोगे, seasonal decompose in Python, तो you will get to know it is already predefined in Python. ठीक है? So this any operator you want to perform, so you already have well defined, you just have to import the libraries. Any distribution you want to fit, just simply import the libraries. So you can see all the explanation and it's very basic. ऐसा नहीं है कि Python is very difficult. Each syntax has been well explained in the documentation of this language. ठीक है? तो आप इनपुट क्या देना है, आउटपुट क्या देना है, एवरीथिंग इज डिफाइंड. व्हाट विल बी द सिंटेक्स भी गिवन होता है विद एग्जांपल्स दे हैव गिवन एवरीथिंग. ठीक है. So now you extract all these three values from a particular time series. What is your input time series? Input time series आपका ये है, index underscore dataset underscore log scale. This is my input data, and from this I extract all these three values. Now I simply want to plot this. So that is plt dot figure, and then my figure size would be figure size. Say, let's say I want it 12 by 7. Since it's a time series, length has to be greater than the width. So I give it 12 by 7, and then this has to be incorporated. Now I want to make subplots First plot I will make for trend, second for or I will begin with my original time series. Second plot I will give for the trend. Third plot I will give seasonal decomposition. And then the fourth plot I will give it as residual. So I want to make all these four plots in a single figure. Till now we have plotted it single plot. Now if you want to create subplots, what is the syntax for that? So this is 411. So I will plot 4 panels and 1 column. ठीक है, आपका format 411 means the size of the figure would be 4 by 1, and the last one is the first subplot. 411 है ना आपका. So I will give 411, 412, 413 and 414. For each subplot I will define. This 4 is the number of rows, this is the number of columns, and this represents the subplot number. So I will give the description for the first subplot. So that is 411, that is the description of first subplot of a 4 by 1 figure. Clear? The last one represents the subplot number. So that is plt.plot. I want to plot the indexed data set log scaled, right? So this is the original plot that I will be giving, and the label must be original. अभी इसमें हमने कोई ट्रेंड डिस्प्ले नहीं किया, रेजिडुअल नथिंग. दिस इज माई ओरिजिनल प्लॉट. नेक्स्ट व्हाट आई हैव इज plt.legend. लीजेंड दे देंगे हम. व्हाट शुड बी द लीजेंड? लोकेशन मस्ट बी बेस्ट, राइट? This is the description of my first subplot. Now I want second subplot. So I will just copy this and paste this 4 times. And in second I will change just the last term to 412. Then I will change it to 413. And I will change it to 414. And I will do plot plt dot. अच्छा, stats model इसमें import नहीं हुआ है. So you will have an error. Stats model आपको import करना पड़ेगा. Just import this. No module name stats model. ठीक है, ये अब आपका import हो गया है. Just note this. Try to run this. It's taking some time. ठीक है, now this has executed. Now what I want to do, test stationarity, and then I plot this decomposed residual or decomposed log data. Decomposed log data I have already defined. Anybody is able to run this? 4 plots आ रहे हैं, सारे सेम आ रहे हैं. क्यों सेम आ रहे हैं बताओ? क्योंकि हमने इनपुट वेरिएबल सबका सेम दिया है. ठीक है, आपको इनपुट वेरिएबल चेंज करना पड़ेगा. यस, I will get 4 plots. I should get 4 plots because I have defined here 4 subplots. I don't know why this is. देखो, just revise this second one and write trend instead of this, and the label must also be trend. Then third plot you want to give for seasonal decomposition or seasonal characteristic. So this is your variable name that you have to change, and this should be the label seasonality. And then the fourth one must be residual. This is my fourth subplot, and the label must be residual. And then I give the plot. Are you able to execute this? Run ho raha hai, it's taking time. So this star means that the cells are still executing and there is an error. So when you run this code, you will get this following output. ठीक है, you will get these 4 subplots, and the size of these subplots you have already given, that is 12 by 7. Length should be 12, width should be 7, and this is the first subplot. Subplot must contain the original time series. So this is your original time series. Second subplot must contain the trend that we have already calculated from this seasonal decompose. So the second panel gives you the trend of this time series. Then the third panel, this extracts out the seasonal characteristic. Can you see the seasonal characteristic? So this is nothing but subtraction of second with first. When you subtract this second from the first time series, you get this third seasonality, right? And then the fourth one is the calculation of your test statistic, right? So this fourth subpanel was your residual, and this residual contains nothing but all the calculation of statistics, right? Why? Because in the last panel you call this stationarity function, and this already contained the descriptive statistic calculation. Clear? So this is how you make subplots in Python: 411, 412, and so on. Clear? I don't know why it's taking time, but now I think it will run. So are you able to execute this syntax? Done or no? Anybody who has performed all these syntaxes simultaneously? और कहीं ना कहीं स्टक हो गए सारे? स्टक? टाइट लेआउट में वो क्या करेगा, बिल्कुल अच्छे से सारी स्पेस को ऑक्यूपाई करके फिट कर देता है फिगर्स. Not approved. So you can remove that. Just remove that command. Just try removing that command and add this last line also, test stationarity, and then call this function with the input data as decomposed log data. So now I am able to run this. Now I will save this as PDF and upload it in the same link. ठीक है, आप देख लेना कोई syntax error if you are facing, you can just verify from this PDF. So any doubts, any queries you have regarding this session? Anything? So I have uploaded this complete notebook. You can just go through this. Any queries you have? So you learned about how to plot a simple time series with respect to time, and then calculating some statistics, rolling mean, rolling standard deviation, how to drop NA values, how to read a CSV file, and then dot tail syntax, window size, stationarity, non-stationarity, different methods of checking the stationarity, and all those things. And what else? You also learned how to create a function, so that you don't have to perform all the plotting and calculation parts again and again. You just simply call a function. You learn how to make subplots also, right? So should we wind up? Any doubts, any queries, any feedback for the next session? Anything? Applications of time series. Okay, so have you heard about so see, there are two things. The first is you do a historical analysis of time series, right? So you get to know about the trend part, seasonality part, right? And then you also get to know the decomposition, all those things. So this what you do from historical data. Then comes the future projections. So this time series data can be further used to project the future values. Like for example, you have temperature data, and you know about SEMI 6 data. CMIP6, you have four different scenarios: SSP 126, 245, 370, and 585. So all those are projections, right? And in time series, you have different models also for calculating the future projections. Like you have AR model, autoregressive model, MA model, moving average, and then you have ARMA, and then you also have ARIMA model. So those models are used to project the future values based on this historical time series, right? So I was supposed to cover that also, but due to time limitations, we have to wind up here only. So the time series, it has two purposes. First, to analyze its characteristics, what pattern it follows. Like this was an example of a increasing trend in time series. There are various other factors which might also include decreasing trend, right? So once you plot, you get to know the characteristics, and then those characteristics. And now since AI deep model are prevailing, so we can just forecast the future values by training those models based on this historical data, right? And that's all. What else? Any other queries? Any feedbacks?
Which has not been covered,
Mm-hmm.
can share.
I have one notebook which I was also supposed to cover, so that also I'll share. You can just go through basic syntaxes, right? In that, I have covered autocorrelation. You understand what is autocorrelation? ऑटो का क्या मतलब होता है? अपने आप. Correlation means you correlate between a time series with itself only, but at a time lag. So suppose I have this time series, but I calculate the correlation of y of t with respect to y of t plus 1 or t plus 2. So that is the time lag. So that is autocorrelation. I will just give a brief of that PDF also to you. You can practice it whenever you have free time, or those of you found it worth. Yeah, so this is it. The data set is also provided on the same link. So this is simply downloading it, and then we have some libraries which we are supposed to incorporate. And then this is the figure pattern. You download the data from a website which is already available online. How do you download from a particular link, and where do you save it? Then how do you read that particular file? And this ls is listing whatever is there in this particular folder. So you list these files, you get to know ALRT. A stands for all, L stands for listing, R stands for reverse order. So in the time reverse order, it lists whatever files it has. And then df was my data frame. So I gave it df, I read the CSV file, and then I see what is contained in this data frame. So this was a data frame which constitutes around, let's say, PM 2.5, 10, SO2, approximately 10 parameters. It contains 10 parameters. Then the same analysis, you do simple info about this, and then you convert it to date time format. So see, here you have year, month, day, hour. So if I want it to be in a single format, like 2013 dash month dash year. So how do you do that? You make use of this convert to date command, right? And this function I have defined. This is my convert to date function. What it will return? It will return this in this format. So again, I save it in some other variable by performing this date commands, and then when you print it, you see, you get this year, month, day, hour. I have incorporated this particular column to my original file. Okay? So if you see step by step, you will be able to understand, and the data is available online. Online link is also given. Again, you do the info, and then you do some operations on month part. You check whether how many NaN values you have. Then you do a descriptive analysis. What does this describe do? Describe does all the descriptive statistics on this data frame. For example, it will count the mean, it will count the minimum, 25%, 50%, 75% value, percentile values, maximum, and standard deviation. So all the descriptive calculations will be done in a single time step, that is just given by this command .describe. Then you do the indexing, and suppose you want to save your original file somewhere, right? So you simply do .copy and save it as non-indexed, and you perform all the calculations on this acquired frame. Then you set the index as we did in previous example, and then you see the first 5 values. Suppose you want to select these particular dates only, so you just select colon. By using colon, you select the particular dates, and then you want to select a particular variable only. Like out of 10 variables, you want to perform your analysis only on PM 2.5. So you just write PM data is AQDF out of the data frame, Just pick that particular variable. This was my variable. You can pick temperature data, precipitation, whatever variable, just by single command. Print these first 5 values, you only get one variable. Then gridding, and then you do plotting part. This is also plotting part for 2016. For particular years, you do the plotting, and this was one range slider. So this is important. I will just describe when you run this command. So you get a slider like this. I will show it in my file if I have. So this was one good characteristic I found. So you get a slider by using these syntaxes. Suppose I want to zoom it for 2016 July. July is somewhere here. You can adjust this. ठीक है, and you only want to select this region. आप देखना चाहते हो इसमें क्या variations आ रहे हैं. Just select this and you will see the entire variation. Can you see the missing values? Just select this region. Can you see the missing values? So there are some missing values also in this data. Then we analyze how do you handle the missing values. This slider is very important. इससे आपको क्या पता चल जाएगा, मतलब you don't have to plot it individually. 13 का अलग बनाना है, 14 का अलग बनाना है. For whatever year you want to see the variation, just do the slider thing and just crop it here. Once you set the below bar, and then you also select this above bar. So this will zoom that region. ठीक है? And then again we have plotted a slider for first year. This will only show for 2016 and somewhere beginning around 2017. 2 year means it will constitute 2 years, 16 and 17. 3 years will give you a view of the 3 years, 14, 15, 16, 17 approximately, roundabout, and all will give you this. So whatever analysis you want to do only on the first year or the second year, so you can just view. जैसे यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा पीक आ रहा है PM 2.5 में, एंड यू वांट टू डू अ केस स्टडी ऑन दिस, तो इसको आप यहाँ से एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हो. यू कैन जस्ट सी व्हाट दिस पीक रेफर्स टू, है ना. ऐसा होता है कि एनसो फिनोमेना आकर कर रहा है एक पर्टिकुलर ईयर में, तो यू वांट टू सी इट्स कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग इम्पैक्ट, तो वो पर्टिकुलर ईयर सेलेक्ट करना है, विच ईयर इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट. So you can just do an analysis using this. Then air quality plot for 2 years, and since it's messing up, so we can make it in 2 different plots, right? And then we have also histogram plotting by just using dot hist. Okay, and then this is the kernel density estimation by using density plots. Then this is a correlation. This is the autocorrelation. So this is correlation of a time series with itself, but with a time lag of 1 year or one time step. Then this is with 10 time steps, with 24, 8640, whatever. So this is the most negative correlation. And then you want to calculate time series for 3 to 4 different plots. You can see this, right? And then you have temperature, precipitation. I have selected few parameters, rain and PM 2.5. अभी यहाँ से आप देख सकते हो clearly temperature and dew point, they are correlating very well, right? And temperature and precipitation are inversely correlated here, right? These are inversely. So this plotting will give you a very clear view regarding your data sets. And then any null values you find, how do you do the pair plotting. So I will then this is heat map. You understand heat map? Heat map is the correlation. So suppose you want to calculate the correlation of a particular variable with itself and the other variables. So there was one also option to calculate the correlation. Yeah, this table. So how do you calculate the correlation of SO2 with SO2? That will be 1. SO2 with NO2, 0.6. With O3, with CO2, with PM 2.5. So this is how you construct a table. And then suppose you want to calculate or you want to prepare a heat map. Heat map ranges from negative to positive. Positive correlations are in red, negative in blue. So you create a heat map with annotations over here, values. And this is the autocorrelation plot. Autocorrelation plot with lag values is known as a correlogram, right? So that is a correlogram, and that's it. I will upload this. You can just check whatever is good for you, you can practice. So this was file in untitled. Okay, thank you.